Well, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today on the table in front of us we have another knife from Kansept Knives. This one was also sent to me directly from Kansept. I have a review that's either going to drop before this or after this on the Spirit. This is the Shard, and this is an excellent pocket knife. I mean, you know, in a world full of overly complex and sort of fancy knives, this is a very simple and straightforward design that just works. And I really enjoy that. And yet it's not boring. It's got a marvelous sheep's foot blade, a little bit of belly. It's got this beautiful carbon fiber inlay on the show side. You know, and this pocket clip is so pretty. It's Damascus. And it comes this way from the factory. You can get a slightly less expensive version of this with just a standard titanium pocket clip, but I love that pop of color on the back. Now you guys know I generally prefer knives in basic colors, but a single pop of color like this can really make a knife shine, and they've done such a good job here. It's beautiful. It really is. The ergos on this thing are fantastic because it just has this sort of basic rectangular handle. Any way you grab it, it is comfortable. Even this way. It's not much of a stabber because of the sheep's foot, but it is still very comfortable in the hammer grip. In fact, in both directions. And if you're holding it this way to do sort of fine cuts, everything is knocked down and milled really, really well so that it fits the hand beautifully. It is an S35VN blade running on bearings, full titanium except for the carbon fiber inlay. It's just a great knife. Now, Kansept is relatively new out here in the world. They are making their way as best they can. Unfortunately, they kind of landed at the same time that COVID landed, which means there were factory shutdowns and there were no knife shows, and lots of things kind of got in the way of their launch, which is a real shame because they make excellent knives at fairly reasonable prices. This with the Damascus clip is about $204, $230, something like that, which I know it's not inexpensive, but you get a lot of knife for that money. You know, even modern Kaisers that are coming out, for instance, which used to be where most of these people worked, are $250 and above. So they're coming in under the sort of Kaiser baseline, and yet they're producing knives that the action is good, the overall fit and finish is as good, if not better. The designs are super interesting. And so I think that if you were looking for kind of a ground floor place to get in with a company that's making excellent titanium knives and S35VN and other great materials, Kansept is a really good place to look. Now that is K-A-N-S-E-P-T, Kansept. What are you going to do? Let's talk about this knife in particular. As you can see, as I said, it is a fairly straightforward design with just enough sort of artistic elements added to it to make it interesting in the pocket and in the hand. The blade itself, with this sort of high saber grind on this sort of sheep's foot drop, mean that it is not a razor blade because it is a reasonably thick chunk of S35VN, but it is done in such a way that it comes to a nice slicey edge, and the edge on this thing is really well done. Dead even on both sides of the blade, just exceptionally well ground. It does have a deployment hole that is a little close to the frame, but because of this sort of partial fuller that extends out past the hole, you can spidey flick it. I would stick with the flipper tab, which works every single time, but you can spidey flick it if you want to. The blade on this thing, which is, as I said, really nice to use, is 1, 2, 3, and dead on 3.5 inches of cutting on, if you measure from here, 3.5 inches of S35VN. The handle area from just behind the flipper tab, 1, 2, 3, just under 4 full inches. So it is a really nice handful of knife. It really is. There is no jimping. There's a little bit of jimping on the flipper tab right here, which is very nice. And the flipper tab is a little pokey, but that's what you're going to get with this sort of long, lean, rectangular design. I think the closed profile on this is really nice. That looks beautiful. By the way, that carbon fiber is milled along this edge. It's not just a flat piece. It kind of matches the milling on this side of the titanium, And it's milled all along on this side as well. A lot of thought went into this sort of simple looking and yet really exceptionally well made knife. I dig it. I really do. Let's do some size comparisons. Nothing too surprising. Here it is against the bug out, and as you can see, it is bigger than the bug out, but not enormously so. And here it is against my new large size knife comparison tool. This, of course, is the Spidey Rat, a really nice Rat Model 1 that has been modified by BJ Hill over at Hilltop Knives and Gear. Just the acid wash on that blade alone. And anyway, he does great work. And as you can see, the shard is smaller than the Rat 1. And I think you're going to find that with a lot of the Kansept knives. They don't make giant knives. They make really good sort of mid-size, just mid-size knives, which make them really appealing to a lot of people. Now, even when I say mid-size, all of the ones I've held so far, even their smaller ones, fit my hands reasonably well. So even though they're not making enormous knives, they're putting consideration into kind of everybody's hand size, which is really very nice. Let's go ahead and weigh this thing out, as we tend to do here on the channel. Oh, look at that. We'll put that right there. Now, there's no milling on the show side here. And this carbon fiber is actually up against milled out titanium, so it doesn't eat it up. I'm expecting this to weigh, I don't know, 4 ounces, 4.5 ounces? 4 ounces dead on. That is a really nice weight. But then again, this is an excellent just sort of pocket tool with some style. It's well done. We're going to go ahead and measure out the blade stock. Somebody asked me recently why I do this, and I said, well, it's because in the older videos I didn't do it every time, and every time I didn't do it, somebody asked me why I didn't bother. So, now I do it. Every time. If it ever gets boring, you guys can let me know, and I'll move on to something else. Alright. I think this is going to be, this one is 3.5 millimeters of S35 VN, which is really nice. At the widest point through the handle here, we're at 12.6, which is going to be, just under a ½ inch. So, look, this is a really, really well-sized pocket tool. I just love this thing, man. I really do. And that's been the case with all of them. There are a couple of more here, but they're going off to be reviewed by other people. I think Women Carry Knives is actually taking a look at all four. I'm sending the ones that I got off to other channels so they can take a look themselves, and I'll do the reviews on the other two when they return. One thing I wanted to share that makes me super happy. Oh, let's do the overall length. I almost forget that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just at 8 inches. And that means that the blade to handle ratio on this is really good. Overall, right, 4.5 inch blade, 4.5 inch handle, 3.5 inch blade. Really well done. Aesthetically, it's really attractive. Functionally, it's really attractive, and they do a great job. If you're looking for a good knife that is of basic pattern and yet stylishly done, the Kansept Shard here might very well be the knife for you. I've very much enjoyed having it on the channel. I cannot wait for it to return from its loop around many other channels that are going to take a look at it. I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.